Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Gordon. We are back with another video. Today, I'm revealing my favorite altcoin right now and why I'm going all in on this ecosystem. As always, if you enjoy the content, please make sure to smash that thumbs up button below, hit subscribe, hit that bell notification icon. You've also got a free copy of The Rise of Bitcoin linked below in the description. Make sure to go ahead and grab that as well. And let's dive right in. Getting straight into the whole point of this video, Bittensor Tau is my favorite altcoin and ecosystem at this moment in time. And I'm bringing up bittensor.com on the screen here for a very intentional reason. The reason for that is because the Bittensor website is terrible at doing a good job of describing exactly what Bittensor is, what Bittensor does, what happens underneath the hood, the subnet architecture, how subnets compete and contribute to the network, how they are earning tau and emissions on a daily basis. The website itself here does a very bad job of explaining that to the average person. And again, I'm highlighting that because when I first came across Bittensor, I completely faded it for the first number of months until I really got to dig under the surface and understand on a deeper level what's actually happening with subnets, how they are working both together in a collaborative fashion, but also competing against each other. And you have to do some digging. And so the reason I'm sharing the website first and foremost is because I know, I understand, and I too have faded Bittensor for months before I properly began to even scratch the surface of understanding what is actually going on here. And I think it would be beneficial for anyone watching this video to set aside at least 10 hours, commit to doing 10 hours of research on this ecosystem and network to grasp at least the basics and the fundamentals of what's actually happening with this essentially artificial intelligence on the blockchain and how the entire architecture of the network is constructed, because there is a lot more than meets the eye from the initial website itself. And you have to start digging into different Bittensor resources to understand what's really going on. I want to share a little bit about those resources in this video. And I also want to kind of describe why I think there is such an asymmetric opportunity with Bittensor Tau in today's video. So let's dive in. You can obviously find more research, the white paper, and the DTAU information over here on the website itself. If you're not familiar with DTAU, DTAU was the upgrade that happened in February of 2025, which basically allows for the creation of individual subnets and those subnets having their own individual subnet alpha tokens on the Bittensor network itself. The other resources I want to share here, starting off with Tau stats, really what you need to have an understanding of is that you've got all these different subnets in the ecosystem, and you have to use different consoles like Tau stats to get data and information about all of those subnets. Okay, if I jump over to my Miro board here just for a moment, I've got lots of information here on this, but basically with all the subnets are competing against each other to provide information back to the network as a whole. And then for doing that, they get rewarded in tau. Every day, there is 7,200 tau up for grabs in the network. That will be reduced by 50% when we get to the tau halving later this year. I can make a completely separate video on all of that if you guys wanted. So drop a comment below the video if you want more info on that. But all of these subnets are competing to earn the daily emissions of 7,200 tau. And Tau Stats, as a console and resource, does a good job of outlining how those rewards are being emitted, because Shoots is the largest subnet on Tau at the moment. It's earning about 10.33% of those 7,200 tau every day, because the validators on the network are deeming the information and data that Shoots is sharing to be of most value to continuing to help grow the network as a whole. And downstream from there, you can see how other subnets are earning 6.8%, 6.5% for Ridges. Liam is getting 5.5%, Gradient's at 3.8%, Bitcast at 1.92%, and so on and so forth. And so what you're seeing is all of those subnets competing against each other to earn rewards on the network. Again, if I jump back over here into my Miro board, you can see how that gets distributed even further as those rewards get emitted and shared to the subnet. It gets broken down even further. 41% of the rewards go to the miners on the network, 41% go to the validators, and 41% go to the subnet owners. 18% go to the subnet owners. Of the 41% that goes to the validators, a chunk of that, or a certain percentage of that, then gets distributed to the stakers, who are the people owning and holding the different subnet alpha tokens. By virtue of the fact that you're owning or holding a subnet alpha token, you're going to be earning this staking reward. So you have to keep that in mind. You have to understand some of the mechanics as you begin to do this research with how these different stakeholders in the ecosystem all play unique roles and how they get rewarded for all of those roles that they play. The next thing to remember here is that you have all of those rewards being earned, but there's such an asymmetric upside. This asymmetric upside is what I want to hone in on for today's video, just to do a very brief explainer here, because the staking APY potential by having exposure to individual subnet alpha tokens is phenomenal. We can use a website called taoyield.com to understand the staking APY that you can be earning on a yearly basis here for simply owning and having exposure to individual subnet alpha tokens. If we look at shoots, for example, you can see simply by owning and holding shoots, you're also earning 103% APY simply from having that subnet alpha token staked in your wallet. Ridges, you're getting 57%. Liam, you're getting 165%. Targon, 173%. Gradients, 99%, etc., etc. As you go down the list here, you can see the phenomenal staking APY that you can be earning simply from having exposure to these subnet alpha tokens. Again, the second way that this opportunity is so asymmetric is the capacity for certain subnet alpha tokens to outperform in Tau terms. What does that mean? Well, let's jump over here again. Let's use Ridges as an example, because over the past couple of months, Ridges has been substantially outperforming Tau on a percentage basis. Every subnet alpha token is priced in terms of Tau. We're currently sitting at 0.067 Tau per subnet alpha token for Ridges, which is equal to about $21.94. But you can see, and we can measure this on a percentage basis, let's just even take since the end of June, the subnet alpha token price for Ridges is up 1,300% versus Tau. This means it has outperformed Tau and the Tau token by 1,300%. And so it's almost like a double dip here when you're getting that performance versus Tau up 1,300% in the past 6 to 8 weeks. Plus, with Ridges, you're earning that 60% staking APY that we were just referencing, or about 56, 57% right now. That will fluctuate and change over time, but it's pretty solidly been around this number for the past while. You're getting a double dip on earning more and more Ridges subnet alpha tokens over the course of a year and outperforming Tau at the same time. The third way that this is an asymmetric opportunity is when you finally see, in my opinion, Tau moving towards valuations where it should be truly valued versus the current price in US dollar terms. We know Tau is currently sitting, if we jump over to the chart here, at $325 per Tau token. Again, we've been consolidating in this sideways pattern for the past number of months, really ranging between $290 and $470. We're currently sitting just below the 200-day simple moving average. And of course, I'm not going to say technicals are not important, because they do hold some weight, but personally, I'm approaching this from a fundamental investment perspective, a long-term growth investment perspective, and looking at the Tau ecosystem and subnets over an 8 to 10 year period here. And I do think Tau as an ecosystem, and thereby the price of the Tau token itself, is extremely undervalued compared to where we're going to see it at by the time we get to 2030, 2033, and 2035 and beyond. And so when I think about that in the greater context of things, and when I think that Tau has the capacity to, of course, as we move through this cycle, come back and retest these previous all-time highs around $740, but moving on towards $1,000 and beyond, you're going to see, obviously, appreciation for the Tau token in US dollar terms. And of course, if the subnet alpha tokens that you have exposure to have outperformed Tau on a percentage basis and simultaneously been earning phenomenal staking yield, I'm hoping you can kind of see the point I'm making here. The asymmetric opportunity for $1 put into this ecosystem to get out, $2, $3, $4, $5 plus on the far side when you account for all of the different variables here, and the asymmetric upside they are providing is phenomenal. So again, just using one example that I actually ran here for a Bitcast subnet, I'm going to try find it here on the board because I was running these numbers over the past couple of weeks here, thinking about one example today. Tau price equal $338 today. Again, this was a couple of weeks ago, so Tau was ever so slightly higher when priced in US dollar terms. But let's think about Bitcast being priced here somewhere around $6, which it is close to at this moment in time. If you started off with, roughly speaking, 2,000 Bitcast tokens, which would be roughly 12,000 US dollars, or the equivalent of 35.5 Tau today. That means that with the 105% staking APY that Bitcast is giving, and we can come over here to Tau yield and check that out at this moment. It's currently saying 118%, so that will fluctuate a little bit, but let's just take 100% as the APY, rounding it down even a little bit as well here. Over the next 365 days, with starting at 2,000 Bitcast alpha tokens, you will have about 4,000 Bitcast subnet alpha tokens 365 days from today, earning that 100% APY. And then suppose Bitcast outperforms Tau and goes to something like 0.088 Tau, which would be roughly a 5x outperformance over the next year. Again, nothing is guaranteed there. I'm just using an example because Bitcast has been substantially outperforming Tau over the past few months. That would mean you would have turned 35.5 Tau into 352 Tau from a combination of the staking APY at 100% plus the outperformance. You've just done a 10x in terms of your Tau exposure. And then let's just suppose Tau goes from $338 today to $1,750 by the peak of the cycle, or 365 days from now. It would mean that at a starting point of $12,000, you would have turned that into 616,000 US dollars, because 352 Tau times 1750 is getting you to that 600K target. So this is what I mean by the exponential upside potential, the asymmetric upside of the Bittensor ecosystem. This is why it is my favorite altcoin at this moment in time. I want you to check it out. I want you to dedicate doing 10 hours of research into Bittensor, into subnets, into alpha tokens, into DTAU, into everything happening in this space. And I can drop some resources in the link below, in the description of this video below as well, if you want to check those out. So that is it. That is where we will leave it for today, guys. But make sure to do some research on this ecosystem. That is it for today's video, guys. As always, if you enjoyed the content on this Tau deep dive, please make sure to smash that thumbs up button below, right below my finger here. Let's just do it right now. Take 3 seconds, smash that thumbs up button, make sure to hit it. It helps to grow the channel. It helps to spread the good word. Make sure to subscribe, hit that bell notification icon as well. And you've got a completely free copy of The Rise of Bitcoin in the description below this video. Drop me a comment. Are you holding Tau? Have you done 10 hours of research? I want to see you comment below this video, and we'll catch you in the next one.